All right, well, welcome everybody to this October 8th, 2025 regular school board meeting. I'd like to thank everybody for being here, and we will now stand and say the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, thanks again for being here. Can I please get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make the motion to adopt the agenda.
And I'll second that motion. All those in favor? Aye. Moving on to the consent agenda. Can I please get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Some IRE staff recognition, Mr. Tyler Dawkins.
Sir.
Great. Good evening, everybody. Hello. Thanks for having me today. As usual with our staff recognition, I'd like to take some time to introduce some new faces to our community. As I talk about in our presentations, we always kind of look at these values that we've created with our just commitments. And we think about this a lot in our hiring process. I talked about the hiring process a bunch, so I'll kind of skip through those things. But before we go into that, I do want to also recognize some efforts that the staff have had over the last couple weeks. We've taken the assemblies that you've been to one of our assemblies before. And we've leveled up and started to kind of create some sweet, specific values-based cultural awards. So what you'll see is we have different awards like the Shield Award or the Golden Helmet Award or the Voyager Award, and that's all aligned to the Meridian mindset, which is also aligned to a lot of the strategic plans. So what you'll see in our social media is kids with these amazing Flava Flav chains here that they've got, and then each kid takes a picture with that. And then they get to keep a little keychain they put on their backpack. And each award is, again, aligned to those values. So those are these right here. So go ahead and take a moment to read that real quick and then give me a thumb up. I won't read it out loud for you. So give me a thumb up when you're done. It's pretty cool.
That's sweet.
Yeah. I think it's really cool for kids to be able to get recognized for the good work they do. And it's, there's not a limit. It's not just one per assembly. It's just whoever demonstrates the bar, right? But there's a bar, right? And that's the other part. So it's twofold. There's a bar and you need to meet it. There's no limit. And we're not just going to be like, okay, who have we not recognized yet? And then make up something for it. There's a bar. Right? So that's the part that I really love about it. And then I think kids, having something as a memento and illuminating the power of example is really important too. So really excited to see that, and definitely shout out Mr. Beatty when you see him, because that's kind of his baby and what he's doing. So the second reason I'm here is to talk about our new staff. We have an amazing group of new teachers, and really excited to say that it's getting smaller and smaller each year that we come up here on the slide. And we've got a couple of them today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the high wall that they had to jump over to get into the school. So we have Alex here today. Alex, tell us about yourself.
Alex, I've been teaching in a Montessori background for a few years. I originally taught kindergarten and Montessori for 3 years, and that was amazing. I did my student teaching at IRE in 3rd grade, and I had such an incredible experience and decided that I wanted to transition to public school and specifically to IRE and be a part of the team, and I am super excited to be here.
Thank you, Alex. So definitely swing by Alex. She's teaching 2nd grade this year. Taryn Tutterow, a Meridian alum, is teaching in kindergarten. And then the last person here is Riley Kenyon, who's in our pre-K program, is the other new hire. So they had some other commitments, so couldn't make it this evening. But definitely swing by our school and come and introduce yourselves to them. They're pretty amazing. With that, they were 3 of, and I know Kurt, I believe, gave a presentation on our process. But we had almost, about 140 candidates in total of the 2 different pools, with 20 plus Zoom screeners and 9 demo lessons. And so this is 3 out of 140 people, right? So in terms of the admissions rate on getting into IRE as a teacher, it's a pretty small percentage, and they met that high bar. So very exciting about that, to share that. Okay, better part about the recognition, I want to introduce some teachers that are here and talk a little bit about this. Is we've had a big expansion in the number of kids that we serve in our early childhood world, pretty substantial. We went from serving 3 TK classrooms, which was the biggest of all time last year. In the prior years, it was 2. And now we have 4 TK classrooms and a 3-year-old classroom. So we're serving 5 classrooms, not including our developmental pre-K, which we've been serving for many years in another 3-year-old world. But if you count them, it's 6 classrooms of 3 and 4-year-olds. It's totaling about 100 students. And that's a huge, huge lift. And it's going to have a huge impact. So I'm going to introduce some of the teachers who are responsible for that today in a second for introductions, and they can say what they'd love to say about it. And these are the folks that are in that world right now. And so that's Atosa Ballas, Jessica Castaneda, Talia Jones, Riley Kenyon, who's one of the newer hires. Natalie Eining is an early childhood specialist, moved out of the kindergarten world to do coaching and support. Melissa Syrie, who's also here, and Melissa Witten, who's the TPK. So that's our early childhood team, along with paraeducators that work alongside them. So with that, a little numbers game, that's 100 plus 3 to 4-year-old kids. I could barely take care of my 2 kids when they were 2 and 4. So huge props to those teachers serving 100 plus students. We have almost 200 3 to 5-year-olds. So that first wing that you come downstairs is all 3 to 5-year-olds, which is wild. And I think the other part that I want to share is just gratitude for this and this recognition, because the data is really clear that when kids have access to high quality early childhood education, the impact is significant. And I think a lot about that right there with high school graduation. And you all get to be a part of that high school graduation ceremony. 62% of students who don't have early childhood education experience graduate, but 74% if they have early childhood, like high quality early childhood education. So just by making that investment, by signing that contract with Opportunity Council to have those early childhood education slots, has already increased the future of Meridian's high school graduation rates by providing that. So I just want to say thank you for that. And the work that they're doing has had substantial impact. So I want to say thank you for that. And then before we go into questions, I would love for the folks to introduce themselves here. So let's start with Jessica.
Jessica Castaneda, I'm teaching PK4.
Wilson.
Melissa Cyrene, I'm also in PK4. And I'm Talia in PK4 too.
Anything else you would like to say about the magic that is early childhood in our building?
It's going great.
Yes.
We're tired, but it's going really good.
So we talk about curriculum a lot, like Haggerty is a U-Fly, right? Phonics and phonemic awareness. It's really magical to go into people's rooms and see the things that we would typically have our kindergartners do at this time that we're having them do as 4-year-olds. So just thinking that year kind of head start and how magical, like last year we had 82% of our kindergartners on grade level, right? There's no end to how good we can get with that type of early access and exposure. So super exciting. I'd invite you to come play with us, come hang out and play blocks, right? It's really fun, easy stakes. Y'all can do it. Okay. And just want to say that it's a good opportunity to kind of connect with the kids and see how the magic is made. What questions do you have?
Well, I have a much question, but I have a comment or compliment. I mean, Zach was in Oklahoma, I, of course, took care of his kids, but dropped kids up. He's 4, and yeah, I think at one day he said, yeah, we got a little over 150 here today. And I'm just like amazed on how many kids there were, but how well they're managed too. I mean, you funnel them in and stuff, so that kind of went walk around, check things out. I was really impressed on how you could effectively maximize the use of the classrooms. It wasn't like nobody was in the hallway, and then just the way the kids were engaged, and they seemed excited to be there, about it. And then even afterwards during pickup too, the level of responsibility that all those teachers have to get the kids out there. I mean, of course, I was in a little bit of panic, don't screw this one up. And, but
You only had to worry about 1 too, Marty.
yeah, but I guess that's my point. So I only had to worry about 1. I didn't imagine 200, but how well you do it is incredible. It's great work. So yeah, I was very impressed. And then whoever's cleaning your building, it looks lights out.
Yeah.
Building is beautiful.
Yeah, Jerry and his team do a good job. Yeah, teachers take a lot of ownership in making sure they know how each kid gets home. So that's a, we'll tip of the hat to them and the work they do there. And then Nate orchestrates the whole thing, right? And there's a lot of moving parts. And I think that it's not easy. Jump around, it's like a Beyonce concert, man. Everything's just like, it's just, there's stages and details and everything needs to happen on time. Yeah, so it's a very sophisticated process. Right?
We're looking at your data on graduation rates, those participating in early childhood and those not.
Yeah,
Just curious, do we have the data on young kiddos coming into kindergarten who participated in private preschool? I sent my kids, all my kids went to preschool for 2 years before coming into kindergarten, before it was offered within schools outside of developmental.
yeah.
So do we know what that looks like? Like what percentage of our population is participating in our preschool as opposed to private pay preschool?
Yeah, I don't know the numbers on that one. This data specifically is talking about high quality, early childhood education across all systems, right? Whether it's private or public. Just having exposure to it is really important.
So this data is private and public.
This is just early childhood studies around data that is, if you have early childhood education, quality early childhood education. And I don't want to ever disrespect folks who are providing a service to families. And so we talk about quality early childhood education. There's like either a curriculum or an approach. There's learning going on. There's play, intentional play.
Jessica was the teacher at the preschool
Yeah.
that my children attended. So
Yeah.
I mean,
So I don't think it distinguishes between private and public. Okay.
Do we have a bunch of kids on a wait list?
Kurt, do you know the answer to that one?
For TK, yes, there are still some Meridian students as well as some choice students. There's still on this, yes.
I think that's the wild part too, is that we had 3 classrooms with about 45 or so students, right? With a wait list of maybe 5 to 7. We served 86 and we have a wait list, right? So just think about the numbers just from one year to the next. The word is out that our teachers are doing a really effective job. The word is out that we're providing a service, and now we've got wait lists for this program. So that's pretty cool.
I think originally we were all kind of, I don't know if the word's worried, but we care about your ratio load to student to teacher and also space. How are you feeling now that we've started school?
Yeah, good question. Good question. I kind of did noticing there. So, I kind of like to quote Walter Stockdale, like we're going to confront the brutal facts of our reality, but we're going to maintain hope. He's a former Vietnam general. And basically the idea is that like starting a pre-K program that quickly is hard, right? And it's important work. And I would do it all over again. And I think that we have a ratio that's very similar to what we've had the last couple of years. Like the TK classrooms are no different in terms of ratio. We have some new guidelines we use for the early childhood program as different rules than what our typical OSPI rules are. And we navigate it and we've gotten a lot of support for it. So that's feeling fine. In terms of rooms, we actually have 2 empty rooms upstairs, right? So we've still got, the combination of budget cuts and stuff, it's a big school, we'll always say that. That also means we get to serve a lot of kids. But yeah, I would say it's the same school size that we've had for the last 3 or 4 years. But yeah, we're doing all right. Good. We're doing all right.
And a little shout out to Tyler and his team. It's been quite a summer for Tyler and the teachers. And it's a transition that this year has been pretty challenging with the new program and new responsibilities and new requirements. And I just want to say that they're handling it. It's outstanding to watch. And if we're serving that many students, how many haven't we served in the previous years? So it's a great program, and thank you, Tyler, and the teachers for what they're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
team. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Welcome in new people.
I say, didn't Karen just graduate 2 years ago? I mean, I was calling it for the basketball game.
she graduated in
So cool.
with Maddie in 2018.
She's skilled. You gotta come by and see her. It's pretty incredible.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, she's doing great. Great.
Okay, well, thanks again. Do we have any public comments this evening? Okay. Well, as everybody can see, there's a few postponed reports that we won't see tonight, but now we get to see the highly capable program, and this is for review and approval. And this is Rebecca.
Okay, yes, hello again. I am Rebecca Montgomery. I am the highly capable program coordinator Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Friday. Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm the technology teacher at MP3. So, dual hats. So yes, at the end of this, I will be asking if you want to approve the program again. So it is board policy 2190. I know you're familiar with the policy. So I'll just leave that there for just a second. And throughout this presentation, if you have questions, please feel free to ask right away. Any of the pictures I've put up, pictures tell 1,000 words. There's definitely stories behind everyone. All right, so what I try to talk to people about is when we talk about T3 intervention, we usually look at the upside down triangle, but really T3 goes both ways. We have students who need extensive intervention, and we have students who need intensive challenges or challenge. So I try and work with the realm of tier 2 and with tier 3, and it is a wild ride. So a little bit on the demographics, we're able to take and look at 3 years worth of data now. So for the most part, our numbers still seem to be holding steady when you look at the different areas. And yeah, enrollment by school, this year we're at 90 students. We had 4 students transfer out of, not transfer out of district, I should say 1 transferred out of district, 1 moved out of district, and 2 others were doing a choice transfer in, and transportation became an issue. And so they ended up in another district, and we were sad to lose all of them. One of them is placed in some advanced classes at Ferndale High School, and 2 of the others I've worked with Ferndale to put them in the magnet program over there. So, yeah. Now, and I will talk about demographics a little bit more later on. All right, so our goals are to enhance academic opportunities, assist teachers in tier 2 and 3 challenges, develop the leadership skills, communication and peer groups of our students, and definitely to promote their problem solving and critical thinking. Have a great time. The project at the bottom, we had our 5th graders were doing reports on the Revolutionary War, and I said, okay, let's choose some different things and some different topics. And this student said, hey, I really want to talk about how the Enlightenment influenced the Revolutionary War. And I'm like, okay, you go for it. So, and this is what she came up with. And the topic I do have to talk about for a minute. This is a student we lost to Ferndale High School, but this was at the State History Day competition. And she sat at a round table with other high school students from around the state and was able to talk about eugenics in China. And it was an incredibly proud moment to just see this self-poised young woman talk with a lot of authority and understanding. Yeah. All right, so our current identification practices, we use the COGAT screener for grades K and 1. Because they're just too little to take the big test. We test all of our 2nd graders and all of our 5th graders. And then we sort through that data. We look at the top scores for each grade level, but then we also go through and we look at SES, so free and reduced lunch, ELL, students, our minority students, just we're looking for the top scores in everything. And I spend hours and hours on this, and then I sit down with the committee and we go through it again. And so I feel like we've done a really good job of trying to add to our program. We also, this year, because we've noticed that our students, we're still worried about, okay, are we grabbing everybody? This year we are adding the HOPE screener, which is a more comprehensive program evaluation. So we're hoping to gather more students for that. That's a new one for this next year. And then I also keep a watch list. And anybody that asks to be tested, if the student, the teacher, or the parents refer the student, we test them.
What is the?
That's exactly what I was
I'm sorry?
Yeah, what, like, how does that hope scale work?
Okay, I'm still learning about it as well, but really it's more of looking at the whole student as far as, it's more of an informal, a bunch of survey questions about the student, looking at what are their strengths, how are they doing in class? It's more than just test score numbers. So, and again, I have a book and that's my job for the next couple of months, but a lot of surveys with teachers
And
this
is
year.
this something that's been implemented in other districts and we're just like replicating it, or
I
is it
just-
something we're creating?
No, it's something that we have purchased
Oh,
to use. It's something that has been recommended. I don't know if any districts in Washington state are using it right now. Different districts do many different things, but this is one that was recommended. We're like, okay, let's try this and see if maybe we can cast an even wider net. Yeah. Okay, so for last year, or excuse me, this year, we have a differentiation in the core classroom. So, just within the classroom, at 3 of our schools, we have single subject acceleration at Irene Ryther, the middle school, and even the high school. So we have 2 third graders who are in a 4th grade, math class. We have middle schoolers, 2 middle schoolers taking the bus, are being dropped off at the high school to take math and then coming back to the middle school. We have a high schooler over at Whatcom right now who's just a sophomore and he just needs more. So we're doing that. We have grade level acceleration. We have several students who we have moved into a higher level grade. And we have a whole process around that. We do cluster grouping. Oh, sorry, Logan. Yeah.
Yeah, just for the grade level acceleration, is that not a thing at IRE anymore?
It is a thing at IRE, but I don't have any kids at IRE right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I understand.
Yep, no,
Okay.
right now I have 2 7th graders who are technically would be in 6th grade, they have been moved to 7th grade. And I have a student who's a freshman this year who would have been an 8th grader.
Okay.
So, yep. Good question though. Yes, we do cluster grouping at Irene Ryther and at the middle school. We do pull-out enrichment where I work with the kids. We have advanced placement at the high school, we have college at the high school, and we have Running Start. So we have a variety of opportunities. Yes, Logan.
Is there still a high cap, like, period at the middle school?
There isn't because of my schedule, because I have to be at MP3 2 days a week. I can't offer a class period.
Gotcha.
But yeah, good question. Okay, I do not know what slide I am on. Okay, so this last year we had 16 students from the middle school and the high school participate in History Day. We had 4 students from the middle school and the high school participate in the state contest, so they advanced to state. I should say that 2 of those students were not high cap students, by the way. So we really work on offering services to any student who needs it. So, our high school student won the Chinese American History Award for her paper. That was the one on eugenics. This year or last year, we gave a survey to all of our staff, students and parents, about the effectiveness of the program and got some really good data. I was able to attend a state coordinators PLC. So once a month, I was able to Zoom with coordinators from around the state, which was just an incredible experience because I felt like I got the knowledge of what everybody else was doing. So, we had 8 students do the K1 screener and then 82 students do the full COGAT. So February is a very intensive month for me. I felt like our data reviews gotten more holistic. And so I was able to work with 5th grade teachers to get more opportunities for not just of our high cap students during their teaching time. So, which is great because I set those students up to start History Day this year. So they already knew the research process. And I feel like our math grade advancement IRE last year, this was a test that we did, it was beautiful. So our 2nd graders did great in 3rd grade and now they're in 4th grade. So we have a good model that we're following. I'm gonna skip this one, go straight to this one. I accidentally gave you the wrong one and I had double slides. Okay, so we are going to, sorry, I'm reading this for you, but we're gonna continue effective student extension activities. So that is History Day is being offered at the middle school and at the high school for students who want it. We're working with students during their win time at the middle school. Right now we have 28 students in, actually more than 28 in four of our schools. We have, our student from Ferndale wants to partner with us to continue with History Day. We also have a student in Linden who wants to join another student to work with us. So the program is growing and it's great. We're continuing to support our cluster teachers. This year, I'm trying to do more push-in into the cluster classrooms and be a presence, which means I not only work with the high cap students, but I also get to kind of push some of the other students as well, and have more relationship with kids, which is really fun. I'm collaborating with the high school to identify appropriate extended learning opportunities. And we offer more AP college in the high school, those kind of things. I want to start working with the high school students on scholarship opportunities. College prep, partnering with Shannon Waterman and with the counselors. And then I've been able to do some professional development with teachers on extending learning for students. So that's been during our LID days. And then I'm now this year able to meet with our cluster teachers at the elementary school once a month to talk about their needs and how they can extend. Like I said, we're evaluating our identification systems. It was just trained on Panorama, which is our new student data system. And that's where I'm going to be able to house all of the student, all of their data, but not just that, their plans for the year and their goals. And then my goal every year, and this year I hope to get it, is a quarterly newsletter for families with different opportunities that we have around the state. Yeah. And these are some of our darling kids. So, and last year you saw these kids do their History Day presentations, and darling Chris, who is in the purple, didn't have hers ready yet, but I promised that she would be ready, and true to Chris form, right before we were ready to go, she had it done and it was fine. It was just perfect. That is her process and we respect it. So, and also I should say this picture on the top middle, a parent sent me, this is a third grader. He is building molecules of explosives or atoms of explosives. This is his reward before school if he gets everything done. So I showed the high school science teachers and said, buckle up. So questions, any more questions?
I have to give a shout out to Chris. Great, well-rounded student.
Amazing.
Amazing support to me at the luau.
Mhm.
Just hung out all day and made sure all the details were taken care of.
Yeah,
Very,
That is-
just, yes.
Chris's gift, yes.
Yeah, very gifted.
Mhm.
Just curious, I see the numbers are dropping and you had said that
Mhm.
we had lost some students based on logistics and some other
Mhm.
things. Do we have, any adjustments in strategies to recruit or get the information out there so that we can
I have,
entice students to take advantage? And as you mentioned, like,
Mhm.
once they get into high cap, you start having your doors open and you understand a little bit more about AP, and then that leads into your college readiness, that leads into your, essays and letters of rec for your colleges, if that's what they're looking for. Like, it's just this whole cycle that could be
exactly.
introduced to students.
Mhm.
earlier.
We usually, and I haven't done it yet, but we usually open up so we have a window when parents can sign up to have their child tested for the COGAT. And I want to say we keep that open year round, but actually I'm probably going to open that up in a couple of weeks. So we open that up earlier. We advertise in the district newsletters, in the school newsletters. I reach out to teachers. I have a relationship with most of the teachers at Irene Ryther. And so I'm always getting, hey, come look at this kid. Let's talk about this kid. I'm looking at watch lists. So I'm looking at all of their iReady scores, all of their SBA scores.
But you're doing this for the whole district.
The whole district. Mhm.
Sounds like you need some help.
I was like, that is just not sustainable.
I'm working on cloning. Actually, I'm working this little third grader. He's gonna work on cloning. No, yeah. So we're looking at all the data. Testing is really our thing. We just, we test all the second graders. We test all the fifth graders. the hardest part of my job is when we look at the test score, we look at their iReady scores, we look at how they're doing in class, and they're a high achieving student, they might not be a high cap, so it's like, okay, how do we get them services, even they're not formally in the program? So, yeah.
I'm just wondering how the communication, like, parent awareness.
Yeah, we have, the state has certain recommendations on how we are supposed to advertise, and we hit every single one. Yeah, Parent Square does a great job of putting it in every single language. So, yeah, yeah, and
I love it.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
thank you. Any other questions? Okay. So I'm gonna leave it to you to approve the program for the year.
All right. Can I please get a motion to approve the highly capable program as presented this evening?
I'll make a motion to approve the highly capable
Oh,
program.
sorry, ladies.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Jim.
Logan, Edie, how do you feel about this? Would you approve it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Since first grade, so
Yes.
it's like something that I know a lot about and something that's like really valuable to us. So.
Yeah.
I do have a question about, you said you partner with some teachers to
Mhm.
like help get more like challenge in the classroom. How many teachers is that?
No, that's a good question.
With all the different schools?
All the different schools. So, there are some PLCs that I sit in on, like at the middle school. I sit in with the social studies teachers and work with them. I talk with the English teachers. Math has its own area. There's already advancement in math, so I don't need to do that as much. The science teachers, they have it nailed down, so I don't have to worry about it. Elementary school teachers, my cluster teachers, yes, definitely. Now, as far as the high school, I have been working with Mrs. Richardson, who has been starting to partner with some of the teachers. That 9th and 10th grade, those are my goals to get in there. So, and I know Mrs. Turner offered some great projects last year.
Yeah.
That a couple of kids took off on, so, but I still need to meet with more of them, yes.
Yeah.
So. Mhm.
Okay.
I appreciate the offering. I think it's great. We can do that. Okay, so
I won't preach you guys again. Okay, can I please get a motion to approve the highly capable program as presented this evening?
I'll make a motion to approve the highly capable program as presented this evening.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
I,
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay. Moving on to some new business. This is the first review policy procedure 2020. Course design, selection, and adoption of instructional material. Mr. Hart.
Good evening.
It's technically the second time.
Good evening.
What?
Okay, so we're doing this as a first read. So we just have one, and as we go through this. So originally, we brought this to you, to the board, I think during the April 30th board meeting, for first review. We did the review, and then we chose to hold off on it. And so in the process of us bringing it back to you for another review, WASDA has updated it, and then WASDA updated this policy last week or right before board submissions. And so we'll go through both of them. I'm going to go back through what I shared during the first one. And then we'll talk about the update that WASDA made as well. And this is a first reading as well. So as you have questions, please send them to me. And so this is a critical policy, and it's an update to an existing policy. The changes that WASDA made to this policy were really based on two pieces of legislation. Substitute Bill 5462 and House Bill 2331. And both of these bills brought a little something different to this policy and to the updates that are required for it. So I'm just gonna go through what each one brought, and then I'll walk through the procedure and the changes. So Senate Bill 5462 titled Promoting Inclusive Learning Standards and Instructional Materials in Public Schools. It talks about the board's responsibility to adopt curriculum consistent with standards consistent with OSPI rules, relevant to the needs of students, and then ensure a quality education for each student. It also talks about the board's responsibility to evaluate teaching materials in a public hearing upon hearing complaints by parents, guardians, and custodians of students. It talks about 5462 talks about an instructional materials policy and committee, and school boards must adopt a policy related to the selection and the deletion of instructional materials. 5462 prohibits discrimination. And so prohibits discrimination in public schools on the basis of certain protected classes. And then it defines diversity, equity, and inclusion within this discrimination. And then it also says model policy and procedure. WASDA has revised it. School districts were supposed to, are directed to have it adopted by October 1st. I reached out to OSPI, let them know our process. And then once the board takes action on this, as soon as it's approved, then we have to notify WASDA. We'll send them the version. House Bill 2331, again, reiterates discrimination is prohibited in public schools. School boards have a duty related to instructional materials. School boards establish the core material for a district, and they're responsible for evaluating the teaching materials. Boards are instructed to have a policy to remove and add curriculum, core and supplemental. 2331 adds an instructional materials committee, and it goes so far as to say who needs to be on that committee. And 2331 says that a parent needs to be on that team in that instructional material committee. And if there's not a parent available, then that team has to report to the board, I think quarterly, reporting what efforts they're making to get a parent on that team. So they're saying the parent needs to be part of this curriculum decision. And then 2331 also establishes a complaint system, and I believe they call it a protest system. So if there's a problem with the core material, parents have a protest, and the same for a supplemental material. They have a protest and the ability to have it modified. Those are the two bills that have gone in to make these changes that WASDA's used to make these changes. And that all comes through in the policy. I go the wrong way. My apologies.
Piece something other.
Okay.
Sorry.
There is the procedure. This is for the updated one, but WASDA aligned the procedure to align with those two bills as well as the update. And I'll get into the update in a moment. The changes to the procedure, if you go through the procedure and you kind of look at the changes, and I'm going to share what the changes say, and then I'm going to share our process as well. And so the 2020 procedure changes are any new course or major modifications to an existing course. It states the superintendent or designee will review those new courses or major modifications and make sure that they ensure that we have rigor, that it's appropriate instructional materials, and that they're aligned to college and career pathways. We have an example. This is kind of this is our current practice. We review those courses. And there is typically the designee tends to be Director of Teaching and Learning, Ms. Samara, and then the building principal. And so the high school this year changed their math offerings, and they have an offering called Math Tools, and that went through a similar process. It was a new class, and they went through and made sure that it met that criteria. The procedure has changes and they call for an inclusive instructional materials. And this is a brand new section in the procedure. And what this section says is that the school board must adopt inclusive curricula and select diverse, equitable, inclusive, age-appropriate instructional material within available materials. This language is also included in the RCW 28A 345 and 130. And that RCW that I just read is verbatim from the RCW to what is in the board procedure. And this is part of our current practice in reviewing core materials. We go through and there's a checklist that we use. It talks about the instructional materials committee and who is on there, as well as stating that we cannot discriminate against any protected classes in the curriculum. And then the other thing it says is the board cannot refuse to approve or prohibit any instructional materials for student instruction because they relate or include a protected class. So protected classes are heavy in, I believe it is the 2547. Sorry, 5462. Yes.
Go for all grade levels.
Yes. Yep. And then the other two additions are, there's the protest procedure for core instructional materials that WASDA has added to 2020. And then there's the same protest procedure for supplemental materials. The timelines are a little different. They're a little, I'm gonna say, broader for the supplemental. The core, there's a pretty tight timeline. And then the most recent update that WASDA made is based on a Supreme Court ruling. And how I did this, and I should have started with this, the markup, and I'll just show you because I don't often show the markup.
Then they delete a lot when they modify.
They really modified it. And if you compare the bills that they used and the language that they added, they match. You can almost go check by line. But the blue is what I presented in April. And there were no changes to the policy that WASDA created in April. The blue is what was presented. And then to highlight the new change, it's this red section. So this red section is the newest update from WASDA. We wanted, if we were going to do it, we wanted to do it all at once, and not have to approve it and then bring it back to you. And this new red section, the new change is based on a Supreme Court ruling from, I believe, June. And it's called Mahmood and Taylor versus Taylor. And what this ruling is it allows parents to opt out of any instructional material based on a sincere religious belief. And it used to be that parents could opt out. It was strictly for that comprehensive sexual education unit. And they could opt out, and there was a process. Supreme Court broadened that to parents now have the ability, families can opt out of any instructional material based on a sincere religious belief. And that was the Supreme Court rule. So from a school board or from a person who deals with the policy and procedures, to have a Supreme Court ruling, I believe in June, and then to have an update policy in September, it's a pretty quick turnaround for our system. So. All right.
Are we allowed to ask questions now?
Yes, we are. And I'm gonna be upfront with you. Some of the questions I may have to get back with you.
No,
but
I want to.
absolutely. wanna hear the
But
questions.
just curious, so now that it applies to curriculum outside of Washington State's comprehensive sex education,
Mhm.
which I'm glad we have an opt-out procedure for family.
Mhm.
It says here that schools must offer reasonable accommodations. Do we have the ability to offer alternative learning when they were opting out? Like, do we have other materials that can be taught when parents do opt out of whatever it might be taught at that time?
we already do this to some extent. An example that was given is at the elementary a few years ago, we had a family who didn't want to, they wanted to opt out of a particular unit. And we worked with that family to find the alternative. So we're doing this already a little bit. To your question, though.
This could be on,
to-
like you
Broader,
said,
yes,
broader.
yes.
You know.
To your question, do we have if a family opts out of this particular unit, do we have a ready-made unit over here ready to go?
Mhm.
I don't have the answer to that, but I will ask. I think I'm gonna say teachers will work to find an alternative and work with families to find an alternative lesson.
But you're right, I think the district has been doing that. Well, if I remember even in the eighties, in the eighth grade,
Yeah.
we had some parents that, I mean, they were, oh, but they did not like the fact that we were learning Greek mythology. They had a hard time with Greek mythology, you know, religion, false gods. So they opted out, if you will,
Mhm.
from that. And they provided them a curriculum for that period, something that was similar, but it was a separate one for those three to do. And without question, we did that. So it just seems like this isn't a new thing. Cause even, you know, I mean, those policies in place, those
Mhm.
modified, but it seems like a lot of this is past practice.
To some extent, but I think there's language around it. I think there's doing things to try to work with families. But you don't have to do those things. You want to do them. This, I think what I like about policy and procedures, it codifies everything. So families have an avenue, and the district has an avenue. So we can hopefully work together. Logan.
I have a question, just, I don't know, this like opt-out procedure is like kind of vague to me, like, who decides, like, who does the parent submit their request to? And what does like sincerely held religious beliefs, like, if somebody, I don't know how they would do this, but like, somebody was like, hey, I can't learn about addition because it conflicts with my religious beliefs. Is there like a line there? Is it like the board decides whether something is valid or not? Like, how does that work?
We're still developing that procedure because this is new, but that's a great question. My sense is it'll probably be the director of teaching and learning, it'll be a building principal, and it'll probably be a teacher, as well as the family. I don't know whether, if a family says I have a sincerely held religious belief, I don't know how much challenge they're gonna get. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of like an
Yeah.
extreme example. I
Yeah.
don't think that would happen, but.
That's good question. And to that point, we also have to develop the procedure. I don't believe it'll be the same as this comprehensive sexual health process. But I think I shared that with you yesterday, that I thought it would be similar. I checked in with Miss Samara, and she's like, I don't know that it will. So I'm just gonna say that up in public. So we'll have to establish that.
And from experience, when there was the opt-out in the comprehensive
Mhm.
sex education, it was just a leadership book to read. And there wasn't a lot of structure or
Mhm.
it was just something to do during those 20-30 minutes, you know. So there wasn't a lot of learning that took place during that time. So I'm just hoping that we can build some kind of structure where learning can continue for those students.
I mean, I think the opt-out process is somewhat hard for some families, because it's my understanding with the sex ed stuff, you have to go into the school and opt out, whereas like, yeah, we got cell phones, we can click a button and say opt out, right? So.
We should have an online form. I think we've said that before, for opting out stuff. I really hope it's not about addition, because I would buy it.
And can people opt out for like non-religious?
Per the policy how it's written right now, it has to be a sincerely held religious belief.
It couldn't be like a cultural thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we've had that flexibility with families in the past. I'm gonna have to do some research on that.
I asked the same question.
One-
It's,
I would assume that we would be bound to honor cultural
Mhm.
values
yeah.
and or religious, even though it's not precedent, but.
Culture and religion often go
Yeah.
hand in hand.
It's definitely, I mean, it's very specific about the religion thing.
Mhm.
So making it a little bit more broad
Mhm.
would help some families feel more secure to opting their children out if they decided that they don't feel it's best for their child to go through such a program. I mean, it's probably mostly the sex ed stuff.
Mhm.
And
In the risk management, to that point, we got many factor that in, because one of the things can be risk management, and we consult the attorney,
Mhm.
you know.
so.
Yep. I also had some other things that I found, Lyndon just passed this policy, and so there's a couple things in there that they have that we didn't have, so I'll share that with you guys and you guys can take a look at it, so.
Did you send that earlier?
I didn't,
Oh,
maybe Kurt did,
I already
no.
looked, I did look at the.
Oh, yeah, okay.
the Linden?
There's just a few different changes, so, but then they didn't have the opt-out clause yet either, so.
There you go, Marty.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see there's one, in your email you sent, I think there was one attached one.
Oh, yeah, there was, that's right, that's
Yeah,
right.
it was this, but I'll take this too. Thank you.
One time thing. Policy, that's procedures.
So we're
Oh,
still
I see.
in the process of developing our actual procedures, right?
For the opt-out, yes.
Yes.
I was gonna ask, with the committee, who nominates the parent? Or is it like the parent first come, first serve says, I get to apply? Yeah.
I'll get that answered for you.
Yeah, there's like a waiting list for,
And we can be more robust than what is suggested here with one parent, correct?
I believe so. I think to a point. I don't know that we want, sometimes when you get too big of a committee, you're not able to make the decision.
Well, we have 5
But-
representatives representing our district. so-
Yes, yeah. But that may change if we had 10. The balance may change. So, yeah, I think within reason, we might be able to control. Again, I will verify all my answers and get back. Well, other questions on this?
thank you.
Thank you.
So it'll come back in theory for a second reading, I think at the October 22nd meeting. And I think the rest of them,
Yeah, everything else was
This old
finished.
business, yes.
Okay. Moving on to old business, second review and approval, policy and procedure 3210, non-discrimination and equity. Logan and Eden.
Thumbs up, yeah.
Thumbs up, okay. All right. Can I please get a motion to adopt second review and approval, policy and procedure 3210, non-discrimination and equity as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve policy and procedure 3210.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
I,
Okay. Second review and approval, procedure 3231, student records. This Logan and Eden. Thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, all right. Okay. All right, please get a motion to approve second review of policy or procedure 3231, student records as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve procedure 3231, student records.
And I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
I,
All right. Second review and approval, policy and procedures 3241, student discipline.
I actually have a question about this one that I should have asked at the last board meeting, so I'm sorry. I might just be like misunderstanding this, but it was talking about like expulsions. And it said that an expulsion can't go beyond the school year. I was always under the impression that like when you were expelled, you're just out of there indefinitely.
I think that's one of the changes to this policy.
Okay.
Meaning,
They can come back next year.
So in theory, yes. as I understand it. Let me just pull up the language and review it.
Yeah.
That's in the procedure.
Yeah,
I believe that's right, but let me. Let me verify that for you.
But wouldn't it also be based on the infraction as well, the student down?
Yes, some of that will be, because if it's a weapon.
Right.
Then yes.
Lifetime.
Yes. And one of the changes they may have made. So I'm looking for section. Petition to extend an expulsion. Educational services, expulsion. A quick search says expulsion is mentioned 105 times in this document, so I'm looking for the right one. All right, an expulsion or may not be for an indefinite period and must have an end date. An
But can that-
expulsion or a suspension of a student may not. Go ahead, Logan.
could that end date be more than a year?
It's a great question. An expulsion may not exceed the length of an academic term unless the superintendent grants a petition to extend the expulsion under WAC 392, 400, 480. So in theory, it could.
And then this is probably in here somewhere, but sorry, I should have reviewed this like better.
No, you're fine.
But like say a student assaulted another student
Mhm.
and the student who got assaulted filed a restraining order
Mhm.
and the assaulter obviously like got this expulsion or suspension,
Mhm.
would they still be allowed to like come back to the school with that other student?
Some of that may depend.
Okay.
We have restraining orders that we have to navigate. And it's tough. But when we do have a restraining order, I believe we try to switch classes. We try to make sure there's very little interaction. But yes, that is tough. And going back to your original question on that next line. In accordance with RCW 28H600-420, a school district must expel a student for no less than 1 year if the district has determined that the student has carried or possessed a firearm on school premises, school provided transportation, or areas of facilities while being used exclusively by public schools.
And that doesn't say academic year, that says year.
For a firearm or weapon, yes, at
The
least,
superintendent can modify that,
yes.
so it's not a guarantee. The student may be able. What I've read online from other districts, actually under this situation, was that financially, the district would be responsible for finding alternative learning options for the student, even if it was that they brought a weapon to school.
I believe that's right.
You cited verbiage that had to be petitioned. Who would petition to extend the expulsion?
Superintendent would grant a petition to extend the expulsion. A school district may also suspend or expel a student for up to 1 year if the student acts with malice, as defined under RCW, and displays an instrument that appears to be a firearm on school premises, school provided transportation, or areas of facilities while being used exclusively by public schools. And then, yeah, except for a firearm violation, no suspensions or no long-term suspension or expulsion for any student in K through 4. That's been there for a while. When a student is long-term suspended or expelled, district will consider whether the student is currently eligible or might be deemed eligible for special education services If so, the principal will notify relevant special education staff of the suspension or expulsion, so this district can ensure it follows policy and procedure 2161, which is our special education and related services policy.
Is this a critical policy?
Yes.
Seems like we might need to review this.
I agree.
So I would ask, could we vote on it?
Yeah. Well, can I just get a motion to adopt policy and procedure 3241, student discipline?
I'll make a motion to adopt policy procedure 3241, student discipline as presented.
We have to have a second to vote, whether we vote yes or no.
No, you don't have to have a second, small board. Robert's rule of order doesn't call for a second, so there doesn't have to be a second, but there would be a vote.
All those in favor?
Alright,
So send me your questions, and then I'll get the answers for them. And then we will bring it back to the, for the third reading of the September 22nd board meeting. Good questions.
Okay. Moving on. Policy and procedure, policy 4040, public access to district records. Level. Two thumbs up. Okay. Go ahead, please get a motion to adopt policy 4040 as presented.
Motion to adopt policy 4040, public access to district records as presented.
I'll second.
Yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Do we have any information from our student board representatives?
Yes, we had our first student advisory meeting today.
Awesome.
That was good. We had lots of students show up. Then a couple others we weren't sure about, but we got together a bunch of ideas and goals for the year. It's looking good. We had some administrators there, golfing and Mr. Zabel.
Both very enthusiastic,
Yeah,
which is nice because like Zabel is new to the whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool that he's really into it.
My daughter was selected as a
Yes.
newbie this year. So how many new student reps do you, or new student input do you have?
We have,
First one there today.
yeah, we have 3 new people. One did not show up today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but, yeah, it was a smaller group today, but it was an involved group.
Yeah.
And so, we'll try to draw in more people who applied, but I mean, if we can get only a couple who are really into it, that's better than 12 who don't have much to say, so.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So there were some good ideas for the year. What was one super great thing that they're looking forward to from the ideas?
Well, this was actually just talked about, like, this only applies to the high school, but we were talking about, my freshman year, we had this 15-minute break period on Fridays, and, we were just talking to Dauphin about it. We are like, hey, this is kind of good, like, we're talking to students and there's a lot of support for this, and I don't know, it just seems like that's gonna correlate to some action, because he was like, hey, we can change the schedule, we can do whatever we want, like, if students are into it, stay on the lookout, like, it'll happen.
What did you find positive about that?
Oh, yeah, well,
Let's
even
chit-chat.
lessons around, but no, actually,
Meander.
I mean, sometimes people would just chill out, which is also valuable. But also like it could be a time to go outside, get some fresh air. And sometimes we would have structured challenges, and those were so much fun. Like it was like a scavenger hunt, and then you had to like call in the announcements, like, hey, we got the answer. I don't know, but it just happened in our second period classes, and I think it was like good for community building and also just a good break from the day and like a good way to end the week. So like that.
It's not every day, it's just.
No, it would just be Fridays.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's awesome.
just cause I mean, our Friday schedule is like weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
The odd
we have like
numbers.
47-minute classes and then 51-minute classes. It's just like, if you take that 15-minute chunk out, everything's like 45 minutes or something. It's really nice.
It's good. I get.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that was just high school, right? Have you guys done that at the middle school yet, or?
That was just something that happened at the high school. I don't know what,
Yeah, some grades have like done things just like with their core teachers that come together, like they've done that, the freshman success team is super involved with like what they do. And they would have their little time on Fridays or like one Friday a month, they just like would have opportunities for students to catch up if they're behind, and then other students just have some free time, I guess.
and a couple people were mentioning that in like younger grades at our advisory group today, mentioned that there's something similar to maybe that at
Yeah.
the middle school. We didn't really like talk about it much, but it seems like there's opportunities like a recess at other schools.
Great. Larry does not need any more reviews.
Yeah.
Maybe I lose it.
Oh, and Nate's here, so we can give you kudos for your award.
Children's Shield.
program.
Oh,
Nicely
that was awesome.
done.
very cool.
I love the little keychain, backpack. keychain.
Yeah, that's Tyler's
Yep,
idea, actually, with that,
love it.
that's a team approach, so it's great to have positive recognition, and happy to report, we've got 12 student advisors.
Yes,
That.
go.
So thanks for you, spearheading.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, first district meeting next Thursday. Yep.
Oh, wow, you're gonna get all the buildings together?
Mhm, at MP3. Yep.
Awesome.
Bye.
I'm sure that'll be fun.
Bring snacks.
Oh, I think there's pizza.
Okay.
Pretty sure there's.
Yeah. So. Okay, any information from board directors? No. Okay, well, we can sign some official documents and adjourn.